Mona Khan, and you're watching Medicircle. Today we have with us Dr. Williams-Soliman. He is the founder and CEO ACMA, which has the first ever prior authorization certification program and also offers staffing for medical information departments. Accreditation Council of Medical Affairs, that is ACMA, provides data and tech solutions for medical affairs and the MSL space in the life sciences industry. Please welcome him to our rendezvous show. Hi, Dr. William. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We are fine, thank you. Okay, so Doctor, to begin with, tell us more about the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs.
So the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs, or the ACMA, is the first organization in the world to provide accredited certification for pharmaceutical industry professionals. And like you mentioned, we offer a certification for field reimbursement specialists that work in the industry. And we actually started by developing the first ever and the only accredited until now board certification for medical affairs professionals and medical science liaisons. And we also now offer, as you mentioned, digital tools and technology for the pharmaceutical industry. So we have the ACMA Engage, which is for a CRM tool for medical affairs and MSL professionals, and also ACMA Predict, which is our own proprietary predictive analytics tool for the pharmaceutical industry to help them gather insights and analytics on their stakeholders. So very exciting time here at the ACMA.
Great. How does medical affairs serve as a bridge between the industry and the wider medical community?
It's a great question. I think now, especially when you think about COVID-19 and the apprehension that many people have in the world about taking a vaccine, for example,
right.
It really boils down to trust in the pharmaceutical industry, right? And the entire world is affected by coronavirus. And so medical affairs, this particular case, plays a really important role because they are ultimately the face of the pharmaceutical industry in educating the medical community on the products and the services that the industry provides. And so I'm sure for coronavirus, medical liaisons, medical affairs professionals are going to play a big part in educating the community, whether it's the physician community, whether it's the patient advocates, patient community, about the safety of vaccines and why they should be using the vaccines. So this is going to be very important. We just had a meeting with some of the vaccine manufacturers, and these are the things that we talked about. And we've also had discussions with the ACMA with many policymakers, many congressmen, senators in the United States government, some of which are part of the Trump administration and the White House staff, as well as and the FDA. And these are very important points around the issue of professional standards. And this brings me back to why accredited certification for MSLs and medical affairs is so important right now more than ever. To get people certified and meeting a minimum standard, because we need to build trust among the people in the world, right, for our industry, especially now with coronavirus.
Very true. Okay, Dr. William, what, according to you, are the key challenges of medical affairs in the changing world?
I think the key challenge really for medical affairs in the next 10 to 15 years is going to be a few things. One, really defining how medical affairs is going to be able to be effective in the new digital era. Today, in medical affairs, we are beginning to adopt a lot of digital technology in the last few years. But as we step into the world of big data and analytics and healthcare, how will medical affairs use this technology, use these tools like, I mentioned we have predictive analytics and AI. How will we use that to make better strategic decisions? How will we use this to help our organizations be able to anticipate changes in the market? and anticipate what we, can look forward to when it comes to even the regulatory elements of drug approval and things like that. Predictive analytics plays a role in all of that. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge is digital technology. I think the other area is, especially since coronavirus now, we're all virtual, we're all using Zoom. How are we going to continue to build relationships with stakeholders in the external community in this new paradigm? Because even after coronavirus is over, I think a lot of people are still going to want to be remote. I think a lot of people are still going to want to be virtual. But how are we going to work in
Right.
that environment? Remember, the medical liaison today, or today, before coronavirus, they spent a lot of their time, 60% of their time traveling
True.
the territory. So what are you going to do? Same thing with field reimbursement specialists that we work with, for certifying on prior authorization. The landscape is different. Doctors today, they they might prefer to meet virtually. So how will we as an industry adapt to that? So I think that relates to medical affairs, but in general, I think the industry is thinking about what this is going to mean for this new generation of physicians and healthcare providers.
Okay, Dr. William, do you think now with the COVID, things would be different for the healthcare industry?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I gave some examples with virtual interactions and tools and technology that's going to be necessary. But I do think coronavirus ushered in more quickly a new era. I mean, and one of the biggest areas is telemedicine, right?
Right.
Today, think about how many appointments have you had with your doctor, whether it's for yourself or for your children, where you're able to do it on a Zoom. That was unheard of, years ago, right? Even a year ago,
Right.
uh,
True. Very true.
to the office. I think that reimbursement models for healthcare providers are going to change. I think that also when it comes to the delivery, the drug delivery of drugs and devices, that's going to change as well. What I mean by that is you're living in an environment where there are less face-to-face interactions and it's more virtual. I think we're going to see a greater use and focus of drugs that are delivered less frequently, less frequently. So you're virtual in your home, being able to use devices, for example, to administer, let's say, drugs for diabetes. That's already happening now, where maybe you only you implant a device for patients with diabetes, and you only implant that device, once a year, and that regulates your insulin instead of taking every day a medication for diabetes. I think we're going to see more examples like that, where technology, especially medical devices, are going to play a bigger role in drug delivery and mechanism for treating, chronic diseases.
Thank you so much, Dr. William, for coming to our show and sharing your valuable time and insights with us. It has been a pleasure having you on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.